So, thank you. Welcome again. Thank you for those who are supporting me. And you see, what we have done until now for the last almost year, what we have learned. What we have learned, those principles and practices are for the highest level of seekers. Isn't it a surprise to you? So the master says these principles are for the highest level of a seeker. Do you align that? Are you the highest seeker? And then you do the practice. If yes, then you are simply enjoying my talk every week. You want to be with it, but you have already reached. But if not, so that is what David and Jerry, I was talking. Thank you for all your support. So, until now, for the last 1 year, what we have been learning is typically associated with the highest level of a seeker. The goal of the Eastern wisdom is self discovery, one, and to end the suffering and awaken to permanent peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. The real self is absolute existence, consciousness, and bliss. That is what we truly are. And the entire year of a journey on Mondays and Thursdays, as suggested by David and Jerry. So I thought that to pick up the highest principles or the principles that is that is for the highest seekers. But we never understood who is the highest seeker. We take for granted. I want $1 billion. I don't know whether I'm capable of it or not. But another issue that the masters in the Eastern wisdom, they start with the highest. Why? They have a liberty to go down if you do not understand. But if you start from the lowest, the teacher has no option what to say. What to say. So I have changed the title, Become a Seeker, become the highest seeker. Now see, you are the highest seeker. You have no blame, no complaint, no regret. That you have to check yourself. Teacher is not going to check you. Only you are going to self-check. The highest seeker, the mind of the highest seeker is constantly aware of the goal of life. What is the goal of life? Is the self-discovery. Why self-discovery? There will be no problems, no suffering. And no, but I fell down and I hurt my knee. What should I do? What the highest seeker should do? Should he not get the treatment? You see, the highest seeker is constantly aware. He should get the best treatment based on the resources. But at the same time, he is detached with the heart and the pain. How that happens, that needs to be understood. So that's why today we are starting a series, Become a Seeker. It means I should become the highest seeker. When you are on the top, every principle in the practice is accepted 100%. Commitment is there. You are practicing and you start undergoing a change from the day one. Now you live in the world and as if you do not belong to the world. You are living in the world, but you do not belong to the world. I'm just talking at the surface and then I will go directly to the main point. Who is the highest seeker? And then we start working on to become the highest seeker in the life. Isn't it a good topic? Stephen keeps smiling. Why are you so serious? So we feel, think, experience, pain, pleasure, hatred, jealousy, profit, loss, good, bad, all are observed by the mind. The mind is an observer. Now pick up one principle. Mind is an observer that believes that people, even things are good or bad. So there is an observer and there is observed. Did you understand this point? Observer, observed. Theoretical physics says that observer effect is the disturbance of an observed system by the act of observation. Or to simply put, what the theoretical physics, from where the quantum mechanics and quantum physics has come. But remember one thing, they say it is a theoretical physics. Theoretical idea. What they say? Observer and observed is a combined event. What that means? I am an observer for you all. So you are observed, I am observer. We both are not two essentially. It is a combined event. There is a fraction of a space between you and me. That is why I feel you are separate from me. This is what the theoretical physics talks about. But we show it practically. We don't say it is a theory. We say it is a reality. By saying that mind perceives falsely and wrongly, we remove them to replace one real self. I did not get it. We are coming. So this, when I see that you are separate from me, it is a very subtle level of delusion. So once we remove the delusion, practically we experience the oneness. That is the highest goal of a Eastern wisdom. So why I was talking about it? I was talking about the mind that creates the delusion. And through the mind, I become the highest seeker. And I discussed in the very beginning of the journey last year. Do you remember? Mind lives in 5 subjective states. Do you remember? Wandering mind, forgetfulness mind, distracted mind, one-pointed mind, and empty mind. Do you remember? Yes, I remember. So who is the highest seeker? Who lives in the 4th state of the mind 24/7? What is that? That is translated as one-pointedness. But one-pointedness or focused or concentrated mind applied in the material world is totally different from the one-pointed mind of the seeker. So we are starting a journey to become the highest seeker. That highest seeker always succeeds. There is no point of failure. So see the is a wandering mind. One scattered in millions of directions on different thoughts and objects. You wake up in the morning. Oh, my honey. Wandering mind. Coffee, wandering mind. I had slept less or more, wandering mind. So then what is the one-pointed mind? You wake up in the morning. Thanks God. I know my real self. You may love your honey too much, but that is one. What is mudha, the forgetfulness mind? Second is the subjective state of the mind is mudha, means the mind becomes one with the inert object, any object outside. How it that is what the Sam was asking a question about the dislikes. Subconsciously and habitually, the moment you see an object and mind says, I love it, I like it, you lose your awareness and this mind becomes one with the inert object. It forgets its nature. It is a kind of insane mind that we experience when we are attached to objects. And the third subjective state of the mind is distracted. How to understand that? You are sitting in meditation. I say, be comfortable. The mind says, I'm the most uncomfortable guy. The mind goes opposite. I say, look at the breath. You are looking at honey in your meditation. So mind triggers you to move outward. That is the third subjective state of the mind. Categories. And the fourth state of the mind is one-pointed. We are understanding. To summarize that, to what is one-pointed? The goal of life is clear and you are aware of the goal of life 24/7. You sleep, you're going to the bed. The mind knows that I have to find the real self. You have the problems of likes and dislikes, profit and loss, victory and defeat in the world outside. You say, that's okay. Let me continue to work. Correct my mistake. I will continue to live in this material world, but I'm not affected by any of them. You are one-pointed. So you need not to tell me that you are, I should give you a certificate that you are the highest seeker. Are you a highest seeker? You have to give certificate to yourself. And that is what we are going to understand in this series, step by step. What are those steps that makes you the highest seeker? Now see, there are 5 subjective states of the mind. Did I talk about the 5 objective states of the mind? Do you remember? The right knowledge, the thought that gives you the right knowledge, the thought that gives you the wrong knowledge, the thought that leads to imagination, the thought patterns or thoughts, collective thoughts, and sleep and the memory. These are the 5 objective states of the mind. When I say you something nasty, you get hurt. So it is the thought process. I normally never say. You get hurt. Or even if I say something good, you get hurt. It happens in our day-to-day life. Your honey says something wonderful. He or she never had any intention to hurt you, but you get hurt. Right? It happens in our day-to-day life. That happens because of the first three subjective states of the mind. The mind is wandering, mind is forgetfulness, mind lives into the state of distraction. That is how you get hurt. So now see, they are understanding what is the Ekagrata, what is the one-pointed state of the mind that makes you the highest seeker. So all these thought patterns are of two types. Do you still remember? Painful and non-painful. A particular thought gives you the pain, or a second thought is painful. So these painful thoughts are linked to the 5 factors of ignorance or 5 factors of suffering that we are going to understand. So what happens to the highest level of a seeker? Unaffected. You see me, you have no authority to give me a certification that I'm crazy. Can I have that sense of understanding all the time? All the time. In all relationship. Otherwise you feel hurt and then you start blaming and complaining. And still you claim that you are the highest seeker. It will not work. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. So coming back, the fourth state of the mind, if you live with it 24/7, you are the highest seeker. So there are many steps, very baby steps that makes you the highest level of a seeker. First is the 4 connection that we will take up step by step. Then there are 9 primary steps, practices that are must. That is one way to put it. What happens? Take practically. You have started living consciously from moment to moment, so that the impressions in the mind that has accumulated for over years, they do not affect you. Whether it's a matter of likes and dislikes, pain and pleasure, heat and cold, victory and defeat, favorable and unfavorable circumstances, you don't care. No, I felt very calm, but my mind was distracted. That is okay to share the experience, but at the same time, did you succeed in overcoming that challenge? Instantly, at the same time, during the meditation, you are the highest seeker. Did you understand that? You have made the body comfortable. Who says? Your mind says. After 5 minutes, mind says, no, this is not the most comfortable position. Let me change. Are you the highest seeker? Ask yourself. I need not to judge and understand. Why should I judge that you are the highest seeker or not? So my master used to say there are 70 indications, pointers outside that proves that you are the highest level of a seeker or you are not. We are not going there, but we will focus that how to become the highest seeker so that we always succeed. Can I say that it is a kind of an inner orientation of the mind that changes the perception and removes the wrong perceptions and notions by acquiring the knowledge and principles of Eastern wisdom? Yes. When you go to university, Brandy might be given orientation to the students when you are admitted to a particular course. But it is much more than inner orientation here means the mind withdraws. Mind can easily withdraw itself from outside, not only from outside of the objects and people, but also withdraws from the body, the sense organs. The moment the teacher says, close your eyes, be comfortable, you say, okay, I'm comfortable. And the teacher doesn't speak for an hour. You remain in that state. You remain in that state. That is the meaning of the highest level of a seeker. To say the same thing now I am comfortable, my mind is looking inside the forehead, and after I stop, for 10 minutes you are sitting there. Who disturbs the first three states of the mind? Do you see that? You are in the fourth state of the mind. So what we have learned until today is for the highest seekers. And I told you, my master used to say that it is better to give the teaching first to the highest seekers. Why? They can set an example for the lower seekers. So our journey, like the journey of the science starts, first you should understand what is atom, consists of electron, proton, and neutron, and ultimately in PhD you know how to make an atom bomb. You do not start making an atom bomb from the beginning. But here, in this journey, you start from the highest. So the teacher has always the liberty to go down, to guide the lower practices. So if we are not the highest seeker, there are at least 6 or 7 different ways and means to become the highest seeker that we are going to learn in this series. First, again, I'll pick up the highest. From the next week, again, I will pick up the highest. The first principle is 4 connections. Do you know the subject matter? Is the mind fully aware of the subject matter? First connection. Do you know the goal of life? Have you contemplated? Have you reflected? Go on earning money. Go on doing what you are doing. There are goals in life, but are you 100% clear the goal of life is my evolution, rise in consciousness, reaching to the highest, what is that, my real nature, which is made up of permanent peace and happiness. That brings an end to the suffering. So you see the subject matter, we will talk in detail. Then the goal of life. Then the third is, who has this goal of life? Check it. You, as a seeker. So that seeker's mind has lot of impurities. 1, distraction 2, and the ignorance 3. So if we remove all the 3, step by step, we become highest level of seeker. Mind becomes one-pointed. So all the three connections we have dealt with it. And the fourth is how to connect the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom through these 3 points. Knowledge, goal of life. Knowledge, impurity of the mind. Knowledge and subject matter. What is real self? So we get the knowledge. You cannot, it's a theoretical physics. They say quantum physics. I have seen a lot of people are talking quantum meditation. I have to understand yet. What is this quantum meditation? But still it is a theoretical physics. Meditation is not theory. So how there can be a quantum meditation? Simple argument. So then there is a second process becoming that contains the 9 primary steps, and all are inner steps, mental steps that you remember, you keep in your mind, you apply that in your personal, professional, social life. So inside you remain a seeker, outside you are doing anything, whatever you are doing, that will be okay. Another part, and then we'll start our practice. You have heard about Ashtanga Yoga, 8 limbed path. there are 8 organs. We have also the 8 noble path of Buddhism. So the first 6 path of noble path of Buddhism is that makes you the highest seeker. The external yoga. What is external yoga? Yama, niyama, the moral and ethical codes, social behavior, plus practice of select asanas, not practicing headstand. I have been making a joke about it, so you should be very clear. You have to select 1 or 2 posture out of 8 postures. Finished. And continue doing the practice. And then select breathing practices and pratyahara. So first 5 makes you the highest seeker. If you are doing it consciously with wisdom. And then the second chapter of Patanjali, he says Kriya Yoga. There are a lot of misconceptions about Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga, you add yoga with Kriya. Action. All practices. So the masters have selected 3 groups of practices that makes you highest seeker. Now, who is not the highest seeker, whose mind gets distracted during the practice? So there is one group of practices for the highest seeker, and there is a second group of practices whose mind is distracted. Did you get it? I hope you will like it. Even if you don't like it, please practice. That will help you change your life. So let us start our journey of practice today. Eyes are closed.